Psalm 91 is a psalm of trust and confidence in God's shelter. It offers reassurance and hope, reminding us of His unwavering presence in our lives. Let's take a closer look at each verse and uncover the significance they hold. The psalm begins with verse 1, "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will abide in the shadow of the Almighty." This verse sets the foundation for the entire psalm, emphasizing the importance of seeking refuge in God's presence. It assures us that when we dwell in His shelter, we find security and protection. As we move on to verse 2, we encounter the lines, "I will say to the Lord, my refuge and my fortress, my God, in whom I trust." These words reflect the psalmist's personal declaration of faith and dependence on God. It encourages us to proclaim our trust in Him and acknowledge Him as our ultimate refuge. Verse 3 states, "For He will deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the deadly pestilence." Here, we find the assurance that God is our deliverer. He protects us from the snares and dangers that may come our way. It reminds us of His constant watchfulness over our lives. In verse 4 we read, "He will cover you with His pinions, and under His wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness is a shield and buckler." This verse beautifully depicts God's tender care and protection, comparing it to a bird sheltering its young under its wings. It reminds us of His faithfulness and the assurance we find in His presence. Moving on to verse 5, it states, "You will not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day." This verse highlights the promise that when we are in God's shelter, fear has no power over us. It reassures us of His constant presence, even in the darkest times. Verse 9 says, "Because you have made the Lord your dwelling place, the Most High, who is my refuge." This verse emphasizes the importance of intentionally making God our dwelling place, choosing to abide in His presence. It is a reminder that when we prioritize our relationship with Him, we find true refuge and security. Finally, in the closing verses 14 to 16 we read, "Because He holds fast to me in love, I will deliver Him. I will protect Him, because He knows my name." These verses proclaim God's faithfulness to those who love Him and know His name. It assures us of His deliverance and protection in times of trouble. As we conclude our exploration of Psalm 91, let us take comfort in the promises it holds. May it serve as a reminder of God's unwavering presence, protection, and faith.